Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is AES and welcome to my YouTube channel. One of the biggest accomplishments that I have when it comes to video games is beating Super Meat Boy. It is a notoriously difficult game that heavily relies on movement precision and timing of certain jumps. You can bet your butt that I raged hardcore while wrapping up my time with it, but I'm glad to say that I beat the challenge. When Super Meat Boy Forever was released, I was not too interested in it because I like to live my life stress-free. However, I said YOLO, bought it, and played through it. Quite frankly, it turns out that Super Meat Boy Forever is actually harder than the original, so getting through it for this review was certainly a challenge. What are my thoughts on today's game? Time to find out. Without further ado, let us review Super Meat Boy Forever, which was released this year and for the purpose of transparency, was played on the PlayStation 5. Story. The concept behind Super Meat Boy Forever's story is short and sweet. Back from his defeat in the title's predecessor, Dr. Fetus kidnaps the child of Meat Boy and Bandage Girl, prompting them to chase after him and rescue their child. The narrative is clearly not the centerpiece of the game, but at least it provides a reason for you to stress yourself out while trying to overcome the title's difficult stages. Visuals and audio design. Visually, Super Meat Boy Forever looks identical to the original game. It applies to the gameplay itself, as well as the cutscenes that are sprinkled throughout the campaign. If you play Super Meat Boy, you will be right at home graphically with Forever. The same goes for the audio design. The splash when a character dies and the music in the background pay homage to the first entry in the series. I do not particularly have an issue with the presentation as a whole, but at the same time I do wish there was a small upgrade since Super Meat Boy came out in 2010. Gameplay. Although we will discuss the ins and outs of Super Meat Boy Forever's gameplay, it is here where some gamers may reach their breaking point or decide outright to skip it. Let us cover the basics first. Unlike the original Super Meat Boy, you do not control where your character moves. Instead, Forever is treated as a running game, where your character is constantly on the move. You may not have movement control anymore, but you gain new abilities to compensate for the loss. Now, you can punch enemies and breakable objects, as well as slide. There are other gainable actions, but I want you to discover them for yourself. Similarly to the original game, there are unlockable characters that will require certain items. There are also two sets of worlds, light and dark. The former is as if you're playing a video game on the normal difficulty setting. The latter is if you dial up the difficulty to quote-unquote extremely difficult. It also adds many more challenges, and the inclusion of forced movement can make them very aggravating. In fact, it is the perpetual need to move that potentially leads to unfair frustration and prevents many people from beating the game, let alone fully completing it. I can't decide if I would prefer a copy and paste Super Meat Boy game with more levels, or this version of a running game that got on my nerves a lot during my playthrough. Fun factor. Even though I did not have fun with Super Meat Boy Forever, more often than not was I impressed with my ability to beat given levels. The game is ridiculously difficult at some points, and I almost reached my breaking point on several occasions. I ended up concluding my time with the story mode, but it was not without a whole lot of sweating. Apologies for that image. Impressions on PlayStation trophies. You thought that simply beating the title was hard enough? Or you have no idea if you're going to aim for the Platinum Trophy. There are a few miscellaneous trophies, as you will pop a trophy after a trophy by wrapping up the story, beat it again, and unlock the different characters. Then you must pass a set of obstacles that made the original Super Meat Boy such a nightmare to 100% complete. Beat every world without dying. It is hard in the light worlds, but doable. In the dark worlds, good Lord have mercy. All I have to say is good luck. You will need it to get your hands on a very respectable Platinum Trophy in this game. When should you pick it up? If you're up for this challenge, Super Meat Boy Forever is worth the full price of $20. It has enough content to justify it, with the inclusion of unlockables and 2 versions of each level. With that being said, I will strongly advise that you do some research or perhaps play the original Super Meat Boy to prevent the situation where you waste your money on a title that may not be for you, and that's okay. We all have a purchase that we regret. Don't make this game be the one for you. In the end, Super Meat Boy Forever is a title that is definitely not for everyone. Imagine that you are sitting in a car and your friend or partner turns on the radio. You ask them to turn up the volume and they turn it way too high. That is what the game feels like. Whereas you have complete control over your character in the original game, the gameplay here resembles one of those mobile running games, although Forever has a much better production value. If you are struggling with Super Meat Boy, I would not recommend Forever. Otherwise, it may serve as the next obstacle that you will attempt to overcome. I will give Super Meat Boy Forever from 2021 a 7 out of 10. Well folks, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for checking it out. What are your thoughts on Super Meat Boy Forever? How does it compare to the original Super Meat Boy? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Till next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are. My name is AES, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.